right. And if you can, you ought to check in the background if we're good.
I'm not following you guys. Sorry about that.
No
Okay, now I am.
issues at all, Scott. Yes, I can see your request.
I have joined. So,
Yeah.
you guys saw that the TV show, The Next Crypto Gem, just released today. Yeah.
That was today?
Yeah. And they picked the first 3 teams, and then they released the who might be the 4th team, and where we're on the list of who might be the 4th team. If you guys want to talk about that,
You're on the maybe?
yeah, of course.
All
we
right,
are.
we'd love to talk about that then.
WAGME's everywhere. What are you talking about?
All right. Yana, can you confirm that we're okay? Should I go ahead? I'm gonna go
Yes,
ahead from my
everything is
side.
good.
I'm gonna go from my side and just confirm in the background.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Welcome to the space of NFT PowerUp. Compete for blue chip NFTs, cash prizes, and more on NFT PowerUp's trivia platform. The space will begin shortly. While you wait, join the back-channel discussion on Discord. Join us every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time for commentary on the latest Web3 news and to win big with NFT PowerUp's trivia gaming platform, nftpowerup.io. The space will begin shortly. Please repost the space now to bring in more of our AI and Web3 friends.
All right. Thank you and welcome to our Twitter space. We're happy to have everybody here with us here today. We do have a special. Hey. We do have a special guest with us today as well, Scott, with his nice video setup. For those of you who are checking us on YouTube, Scott is nicely set up in his gaming setup and the perfectly blurred background. If I'm looking correctly, there's a Mario to your left shoulder.
Yeah, that's a. Hold on, I'm echoing. Why am I echoing?
There's a whole lot of echo.
You might have a YouTube video up that's not muted for your stream.
All right, let me double check that.
But that's okay. You guys can hear me twice. I'm a hype guy. Yeah, check one of your tabs if you have the YouTube channel up and it's not muted. This is a common thing that happens to me too.
That could be it. Could that be from my side, Yara? You're still with us? No.
Yeah, if anybody has a tab open with the YouTube channel that you guys are streaming to.
I'm going to mute now. Just check now.
Yo. Nope, still does it.
Of course it does. All right. If you can echo for a while, and I'll ask our Yara, our team member in the background to help out.
I mean, it's definitely coming from me. That's weird. Maybe I'll leave the streaming out and come back.
Yeah, what happened on my end is that I'm hearing the voice twice, once from Steam Link and once from the Twitter space.
Where are you, MG? Are you on a computer? How are you connected to us?
Yeah, I'm on a desktop computer.
And you entered StreamYard with this?
Yeah.
All right. And do you have Twitter space open somewhere else?
Yeah, on my phone.
It's on mute?
It is on mute.
Then it's not you. Hold on.
I'll leave. Oh, there we go.
Now? How about now? Did this work?
Yeah, this works. Maybe it was
Can
me.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I left the Twitter space from my computer. I'm going to join it from my phone. Sorry, guys. I just woke up. I had a busy night. But yeah, no, that's my amiibo. That actually holds all my amiibos for all the Mario characters. For all the Zelda characters, because I collect Dragon Ball Z and I collect Zelda amiibos. I have them all. There's like 35. I'm like that 40-year-old virgin, except that I'm married. All right. But yeah, guys, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Sorry, that was my fault. Sorry, everybody.
No worries, man. No worries.
It happens to the best of us.
All right, so we have a bunch of topics to cover today. We have the way we're structuring our session here today is we're going to be talking about different news in Web3, and you have your own as well news as well. Scott, we'd like to hear more about that, and we'll discuss this all together. And then also there's a section where we're focused specifically on you, Scott, who you are, what you're doing, and WAGME and and participations and things like this. And then we do have a trivia competition that we're launching as well at some point today during the. I think it's live already, Sarah, right?
Yeah, I can see Sarah in the next room. I don't know what's going on. In the next room.
So we're good. We're good. So yes, we're launching a trivia competition today as well, and we do have a competition as well. We're asking people to guess this voice. I'll be running this a couple of times during the session together today, but I'll give you a sneak preview now. It did not play. So yeah, we're having some technical issues here today, but yeah, so we do have a guess this voice as well that we'll be playing. All right, so MG and Web3 guy, where do we get started?
I'm requesting on my phone to join the space. If you guys can bring me up.
Of course.
I heard the noise.
Yes. Is it up now? Are we good?
Yeah, we should be good.
All right. So, what topics do we have to get started with, Jad, MG, and Sarah? What do we do?
We can start with Lufthansa releasing their NFT perks trading cards.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of echo.
Sorry about that. Is it better now?
I can hear everybody well. Are you getting echoes from your side?
Not from my side. Not at all.
MG, are you hearing echoes?
Yeah.
Scott, you good?
Is your phone on silent? Just turn down the space audio as much as you can. I think this should solve it. This is what I did from my side.
Scott, are you getting any echo or you're good?
No, I'm not getting any echo.
All right, MG, then it's you. All right, so what Lufthansa did was they, Web3 guy, do you want to tell us more about what they did with their NFT collection?
Yeah, definitely. So what they did with their NFT collection, it's basically a layer of benefits to their flyers. So you download an app, I think they called it Uplift, something like that. You can claim your rewards, but instead of claiming them in terms of miles or points or whatever, you claim them in forms of digital trading cards, which are NFTs. So basically, you can claim some flights, some free miles, So and the trading cards are tradable. You can sell them. You can basically it acts like NFTs. So yep, that's the main news about Lufthansa, and I think this is very well, and they have a broad audience. So basically, as I read, they have 38 million customers per year. So this is a huge number. It can act as it can onboard more and more people and make Web3 more accessible for those 38 million customers.
So what perks do I get?
Okay, so basically what you can get is maybe you can win free miles from a flight. That's one. Two, you can win some free time in their business lounge. Or you can win a flight on New Year's Eve across the North Pole, as they mentioned. So it's some nice rewards. And what I like about it is that it's not specific to you. It's not personalized. So you can sell it to someone else on their platform, on their application.
You know, the thing that I like most about this is how Lufthansa is making it such an easy onboard for users to get these tickets, because the ticket that they have already comes with a QR code that they can just scan, and then they will be prompted with like maybe 2 or 3 NFTs that they can claim. And once they collect like a certain combination, or like a set, then they can claim other rewards like miles or something like that, just like Web3 guys just said.
The way I look at it is it's a lot towards, the NFTs are just a fancy way for a loyalty program for upgrades and things like this. So you get people to pay for a membership, so it's a VIP type of membership.
Yo.
So this is how I feel.
Is it just me or is Ayman's audio rugging?
Yeah,
he's rugging. I was just letting it go. I was like, oh, maybe it's me.
I had to say something. I had to say.
All right, how is it now?
Still,
You sound like a robot.
Of course I do. Of course I do. I'll leave.
Is this the only time you guys have ever had issues when I join? Probably.
Yes.
Nice. I see now. It makes me feel good. I can't take all the blame.
I'll even join.
What is today? Today's Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Geez, you guys just like forget what time of the year it is half the time, because I do. Web3 destroys your sense of what day it is, what time it is, what planet you're on.
Exactly. If you're sleeping for 2 days straight, you're missing out on everything in Web3.
Yeah, you literally gotta do sleep in 2-hour increments, so you can wake up, catch up, go back to sleep. Yeah, that's how it is. Where are you from, MG?
I'm from Lebanon, my guy.
Lebanon. I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah. Oh, really? I was just about to ask you, have you heard of the country? So you even plan to come here? So.
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of community members in Lebanon from my fitness videos.
Oh, really?
I have 3 million subscribers on my fitness channel. So,
wow.
I want to go to Malaysia. I have a huge community in Malaysia, in Morocco. Actually, my graphics guy, I met him because he is from Morocco and watched my videos, and he's like the most amazing graphics guy ever. He's been my graphics guy for like 12 years.
I'm looking you up, man, on Instagram just to see what this whole thing is all about. So, Scott, man,
look me up on YouTube.
Is that you? That is you, man. You are ripped, my guy.
Let's go.
That is awesome, man. Here's a follow.
I like to say I'm more like Web3 ripped right now. I gotta do some more cardio.
Oh, is that
so? I'm gonna coin that term. There's ripped and then there's Web3 ripped, which means you look like you used to be ripped, but you gotta do some more cardio. That's me right now. But I did more cardio. I did some cardio yesterday.
Who really enjoys cardio? Do you find any other way to lose those calories? Do you enjoy any sport or something like that?
So I wrestle with my wife a few nights a week.
My guy.
For me, if I'm being 100% honest, I've talked about this many times. When I run, I push my limits and I use it to burn extra calories, and also running boosts your natural HGH production by like 700% when you're sprinting and things like that. But if I'm being honest, that's the best time for me to clear my head and get away from the computer. And honestly, at that point, I get a lot of my best ideas for content or video, or like I was going for a run the other day. And then I just like remembered this guy that I'm friends with that has like a lot of great contacts in PR and marketing that I wanted to reach back out to when we got to this point with WAGME.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I got to call Adam. You know, we're ready for him now. So it's like it allows me to disconnect from the world and let new ideas and thoughts kind of flow in. So that's the main reason why I do it. But yeah, like,
I do enjoy running. I just feel like sometimes it gets a bit boring. So this is why I indulge in other types of activities. I really like to play tennis. It feels like it disconnects me from everything that goes around me. But tennis, unlike for example, jogging or running, it really keeps you focused on the game. You have to track the ball. You have to know what technique to use, forehand, backhand, serve, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's a different ball game, but it really disconnects me, just like you said.
Oh, 100%. And I can't run on a treadmill for a long period. Well, in my gym in my house, I have a TV. I can watch Netflix. That's how I catch up on a lot of my anime because I watch too much anime. But I prefer to run outside. It's much like the scenery distracts me. Like I like to pick points to run to, or sometimes I'll try to race cars at lights just for fun, like stupid stuff like.
You're on mute, Scott.
He muted me. Are you back? Are you back in action?
I'm back in action. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Murphy's Law is what can go wrong will go wrong. So yeah, we're here.
Yep.
So Scott, how did you break your consistency to work out well?
How did I what?
How did you figure out how to be consistent to be able to be ripped / Web3 ripped?
So, I mean, I've been doing fitness since I was 12, really. I was always into sports, soccer, wrestling, baseball. And when I was a kid, I was really into superheroes, and I was kind of bullied a little bit. So I thought, oh, if I get big and strong, I can beat the crap out of these kids picking on me. and because I was really into superheroes, I was like, well, maybe I can protect myself and my friends, right? And so that's really the mindset, like the mindset of a child to want to get bigger and stronger. And you see it in like, every superhero comic book origin story. There's usually like a moment in someone's life where they decide they want to get in shape and healthy. And it's not always for those reasons, but for me it was. But I've always had a drive to do as many things as I could. Like I never approach a task as something that I can't handle. And that's something that's been with me my entire life. That was something that's been instilled in me by my parents since a very young age, right? Like always being encouraged to do what I want to do and follow my dreams and work my hardest. And also too, like, if you're going to do something, do it right. Right. So those were things that were instilled in me at a very young age. And then by the time I was 14, I started working in a gym. I was cleaning all the equipment for 3 hours on a Saturday for a free membership. And that got me there all the time. All the older people in the club would take me under their wing and show me how to exercise. And the owner of the club saw that how much of a hard worker I was. And so he started giving me more responsibility as I got older. And by the time I was 16, I was actually running the front desk and doing memberships and, kind of handling all that stuff. By the time I was 18, I became a personal trainer. And then I continued to work for the same guy up until I was 23. At that point, I had built 3 gyms with him. I was a general manager for both the gym and the personal trainers. So I've just always had a drive to just do as much as I can with no matter what I'm doing.
Scott, a lot of what you're saying is very interesting. We're going to move straight to your feature section. So how old were you when you started in that gym, in that club?
I was 14.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're part of the business, right? Somewhat like in the training side and helping around here and there at a young age.
Yeah. So I was on the wrestling team. One of my buddies, Ryan, he knew I liked to exercise and I like to work out, and he was working at a Gold's Gym for 3 hours on a Saturday, cleaning the equipment and the treadmills and vacuuming the floors. And the owner was giving him a free membership to the club. So he's like, hey, do you want to do this with me? All you got to do is clean for 3 hours on a Saturday morning from like 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and you get a free membership, for the whole month. It's like, great. So that's why I started riding my bike to the gym, and that's how I kind of started my journey working at clubs.
And the commitment is not very big, right? So it's 3 hours on a Saturday morning. That's not much.
Yeah, you just strap your Discman to your waist. Remember that?
Of course I do. With the skips, skips and everything.
You make sure anti-skip is on, and you just go to town. 1 second.
You reminded me of the anti-skip. I remember buying one of them because it had a 12-second buffer.
Well, dude. So like my phone was. I could hear myself talking, and it was annoying me. I just threw my phone in the bathroom so I could stay on Twitter Spaces. Just threw it in there and closed the door. Yes, dude. Like I remember one of my first workout CDs was the first Disturbed CD, right? And I'd be listening to it and be like, I'm down with the sickness. I'm like, get pumped to this. Can't get pumped to skipping music. But yeah, man. I mean, my life's been crazy. I've always been looking for ways, like more ways to make money, and not just for the monetary value, but just my family. We didn't grow up poor, but we also we didn't grow up having every little thing that I wanted. Right? Like we're just a typical average American family. And I had an amazing childhood, but I always was taught like, hey, if you want something and we can't provide it to you, just do something to get it yourself. Put the initiative in. So like I was mowing lawns when I was like 12, 13 years old, around the neighborhood, trying to get money doing that. I would pick up, any odd job I could. That's why I started working at the gym. Actually, I forgot about this. While I was working at the gym, what I would do is I would work for 3 hours, and then I actually started detailing cars. So members would come to the gym and then go work out, and then I would detail their car for them while they were training.
Wow.
And I wouldn't wash the outside. I didn't have time, but I was very meticulous. When I clean things or when I set things up or if I'm building anything, I'm very meticulous with how I do things. And so I would detail the inside of their cars using the vacuum from the gym, right? And then all the cleaning supplies, and I would make extra money doing that. So like people would come drop off their cars and I would detail them. When I was 18, I became a personal trainer. By the time I was 19, 20, I got my real estate license. I had a DJ business from my sophomore year of high school for like 8 years after that. I was always just trying to better myself, learn more, and just honestly trying to find a place to plant my feet in the ground. I mean, when I went to college, I went to college for a business degree. I got a bachelor's in business science. And, looking back, it's like, wow, what a worthless degree that was, right? But because, most of the stuff they taught back then, it doesn't really apply to today, right? Like what applies today is so different than even 2 years ago. But when I was in college, I went to Merrimack College in North Andover, Massachusetts. We had to do business presentations every week. So it really taught me how to prepare a business presentation and deliver information and not say every 2 words, right? Like so like and we actually had this thing where if you said everyone in the class had to slap the table with their hands to kind of like shock you, to make you not say all the time when you're presenting. But that really helped me polish my presenting skills. And of course there were other tips and things that I
That was a tough class.
What?
That was a tough class, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, well there was 4 years of that.
Oh no, Ayman, you started rugging again.
You're rugging again. Just disconnect your mic and reconnect it. I think that's probably all it is. Do it in settings. Yeah. But so then from there, right, started doing reality TV. I got on a TV show called The Real World, and then that put me in New York.
What was that about?
So The Real World is like we're the world's first reality TV show where they take 7 strangers, put them in a house together, and then, just film the madness for 3 months. And so our season was very interesting because we were the first season with 8 cast members. Uh-huh. Normally they give you a team job But we didn't have a team job because everybody in the house was pursuing modeling or acting or show hosting and in New York City because we were in Brooklyn. So actually, I'm wearing my Brooklyn shirt today. So we were going into New York a lot. And then we were the first season to ever have a transgender castmate.
Oh,
which,
really?
Yeah, which was interesting because, you know, I'm from a very small town in New Hampshire. So you'll hear me say like I'm from Boston, I'm from Lawrence, I'm from New Hampshire because my parents were divorced. So like where we lived was right on the border. And if you're from that area, you understand what I mean because it's literally like everybody knows everybody there. It's just like it's so easy to go town to town to town. But I didn't even know, you know, being transgender was a real thing. You know, I'm 23 years old, going to New York on a TV show, and my roommates are like, you know, that girl's not a girl. I'm like, what, you guys are weird. But I'll tell you what, man, me and all of my roommates became super close. We had our ups and downs. I think my season's actually on Paramount Plus right now. So if you guys want to check it out, it's The Real World Brooklyn. And I learned a lot that season. I learned a lot about the LGBT community and what it means to be transgender and all that stuff. So it was a really eye-opening experience for me, and it helped me grow as a person, which is great. You always want to be growing as a person. And then after that, like, you know, this cool new thing called YouTube was starting to kind of pop off. And so I was the first person to start creating fitness content on a consistent basis. And so the genre that you see today of fitness, I'd like to think that I was, you know, one of the guys that pioneered that. I mean, the community says that I'm, you know, hey, Scott's the OG of the fitness community. I mean, I was the first person to ever even get a supplement sponsorship for being a quote unquote influencer. I was the head trainer for Lionsgate. They had a YouTube channel called BeFit.
What year was that? So because fitness influencers really popped off 2015, 16, 17. That was really it. Was it before then? Was it
2009, bro?
What?
When I got a sponsorship, I was with BSN for like 13 years. I had 4,000 subscribers, and the exact words the athlete manager gave me, because I was showing him all my stuff on YouTube, and he's like, his exact words were, "I don't know what you have, but you have something. So let's figure it out." And it was so great because it was such an amazing opportunity for me that it put me having to make videos on YouTube. And if you guys go to like my early content, I just look so ridiculous. Like I look like a deer in headlights. I know what I'm talking about. My how-to videos, and this is why I was telling you, I know obviously you know Lebanon. My how-to videos are embedded in websites and apps all over the world because they're 1 to 2 minute videos. Here's how you bicep curl. Here's how you bench press. Here's how you squat. I think my how-to plank video has like 30 million views or something crazy like that, right? Because it's educational content. Education doesn't change. So people, you know, they might be searching for the latest drama of what's going on in the world, but when they want information, the information doesn't change. Well, especially in fitness, right?
But Scott, it's so interesting that you've since 2009 you took on these short form videos that are now actually popping off. And I wanted to ask you one thing. So, and maybe this is a transition to WAGMI. You said you've been in the fitness scene, fitness/influencer scene since early days. Do you find any similarities between those days where you were just not a lot of focus on those, not a lot of huge adoption on these, let's call them industries, and how you feel about how the state of crypto is right now?
It's a really good question, actually, and it's something that I talk about quite a bit. So I want to paint a picture for you. It's 2009. You see some really good-looking guy with ripped abs in the gym filming himself. Twitter just came out. Instagram doesn't exist. Nobody's posting content. And everyone just kind of thinks that you're just some douchebag filming himself in the gym. And even when I was living in New York, I was going to Crunch Gym because we had a free membership there from the show. They would not let me film. They were like, "You can't film in here." Oh, wow. And so I was essentially forced. I mean, I kind of was done with New York at that time. I'd been there for 2 years. But I was essentially forced to move back home to the gym that I was the general manager of. So you'll notice a lot of my early videos are in a gym called Answer is Fitness. That's a club that I had built with my mentor, Dave Dos Santos. But I would work all day, close the doors at 10 p.m., and then I would film videos till 1 a.m. with my two of my clients, Cliff and Tom. They would help me out all the time. Still really close friends to this day. And whenever I would film in clubs, like if I was traveling or even in my club, like sometimes during the day, people would be like, what the hell is he doing? Like, why is he filming himself? Because it didn't exist. It was such a weird thing. And then, so my boss, my mentor, Dave, you know, who basically took me under his wing since I was 14, like he was seeing my YouTube videos, you know, and like he was worried that I was wasting my time. Because again, remember, YouTube was nothing. And I remember, and I tell this story a lot. He pulled me in his office and he just starts yelling at me, but like someone who loves you, right? And he's like, what are you doing with these stupid videos? He's like, there's people that are bigger than you, stronger than you, smarter than you, more ripped than you. Who's going to watch your videos on this stupid thing, this YouTube thing? This makes no sense. And I just smile and I'm like, I don't know, Dave, but I'm going to make millions doing it. It's like slammed the door and walked out. And he gave me kind of like an ultimatum. He's like, if you're not making money with this by the end of the year, you're going to stop. And I said, fine. And then by the end of the year, like things started taking off. I started getting sponsorships. I think I'm the only person in his life to ever prove him wrong on something. So I get a lot of respect from him. Yeah. And he tells people, he's like, Scotty proved me wrong, man. He's like the only person to ever do it.
but that type of talk really gives you motivation to actually prove someone wrong, does it not?
Oh, 100%. And so that's the segue into Web3. Yeah. In 2009, people told me that I was stupid. YouTube would never be anything. I'm wasting my time. We don't like this. Why would I watch your videos when I can buy a Men's Health magazine? Sounds a lot like the emerging technology in Web3.
Yep.
So when I entered crypto like 3 years ago, someone told me to buy Shiba Inu. So just like most people. And I was like, ooh, this is cool. Now, obviously, much more educated. I don't dabble in the crap tokens anymore. Yep. But when I started in crypto, the best way for me to learn and educate myself was I started a crypto YouTube channel, which I don't really post on anymore because I'm co-founder of WagMe and I just focus here. But that's how I was teaching myself crypto, is I was making videos about projects, making videos about how to buy a MetaMask, and I was doing AMAs with upcoming projects that wanted to get their information out there. And I found also that I had a lot of clout in Web3 because a lot of people in the space actually grew up watching my fitness content. So I would actually join live streams of other crypto YouTubers with my Scott Herman Fitness YouTube, and I would comment and chat, and they'd be like, oh, you know, Scott's here. I watched his videos when I was in college. And so I kind of got indoctrinated into the crypto community that way, like arms wide open. And I got to absorb a lot of information very fast. And when I finally met WagMe, the co-founders of WagMe, the original 4 guys, I had a meeting with them. That's when it clicked. When they started to explain to me what their vision was for bringing NFTs into gaming and asset ownership, and how players will 100% be in control. Like GameStop likes to say, power to the players. This is real power to the players. And, you know, while most of my story to you guys, you know, my background is fitness, my 2 passions my entire life have been fitness and gaming, which is why you've been noticing all my toys in my background and my collectibles. So and fitness, gaming, anime, comics, movies, I have such a depth of, you know, at what I thought was basically worthless information up until this point. You know, but now, you know, we're creating an anime treatment for one of our characters, and I'm talking to these anime studios, and I'm like, I want the animation to look like, and I'm showing them all these different animes that I like to watch and all these different characters. So it's like now I'm able to kind of tap into that wealth of knowledge that I've accumulated since I was, you know, 8, playing Nintendo with my brother, right? all of that is kind of coming to head with WAGMI, and the opportunity is here. And the reason why I dove head first is because I know from experience, if you're in an emerging sector where most people are saying that's dumb, but the people who know what they're talking about are saying this is the future, that's where you want to be.
I agree with that.
Because
100%.
everywhere else that you place yourself, you might do well, right? But are you going to leave a legacy? Probably not.
It's always better being early, especially if something is still skeptical to most, but you always hear them talking about it. I mean, you guys don't like this, but you always talk about it. Why not join in? And then ultimately, when the ship sails, they will join in. I mean, crypto, not just coins, not just NFTs, but the infrastructure that builds it, blockchain, is definitely something that will be widely adopted. And it's just, I mean, I believe it will need some type of regulation before we reach that like huge adoption point. But it's always better to be early than to be last on the boat.
Oh, you're 100% right. Ivan, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So Scott, you are at an advantage where you're able to see things early, and that comes with your experience and your age, right? Because you spoke about, you know, the men's magazine and things, those comments that you got before, and now how you're able to draw a parallel with that same behavior. That puts you definitely at an advantage to those who are, you know, their Web3 or NFT project is their first project. I feel the same, Scott, because I started off with advisory on social media advisory, right? And getting businesses on to use YouTube and Facebook at the time. And I remember I got a meeting with a CEO of a very large insurance company. So there was a family friend who made the introduction. It was clear, 5 minutes in, the guy zoned out. He wasn't interested at all. And I tried for another 10 minutes or so. He didn't care. And then, what I did was, I wrapped up. I said, look, obviously, I missed completely. So help me out. Help me understand what I did wrong before, so that I don't do this mistake with others. So I'd like to leave with a lesson learned. He says, Ayman, I don't think you know what insurance company you walked into, but you're coming in here to talk to me about YouTube and Facebook that my kids play with.
Yeah.
So that for me was clear that that he's not the audience. But with time, of course, I got a call from the same company 2 years in saying, "Hey, can you come in and talk to us about this Facebook thing?" So I'm seeing the same echoes now when I talk to people and projects and companies about blockchain and NFTs and Web3 and AI and so on. I see that parallel with the early versions of social media, the same way you had that with when you were, who would watch on YouTube people, filming themselves and doing things on Twitter and so on. So that parallel puts you definitely at an advantage, Scott, that can help your personal brand and as well with the WAGMI.
Yeah, what's interesting you say that, Ayman. So our CEO, Ian Bentley, he has a similar story. So he actually had a company that he had sold maybe like 5 years ago, had an exit of like 20 million. And it was the leading privately owned lead generation company in the automotive sector called Autotropolis. And he tells a very similar story to where he was so early to that technology, to like lead generation, that he was reaching out in the beginning to car dealerships and things and saying, "Hey, do you want to buy these leads?" And they're like, "No, we'll just use the newspaper." Right. And then a few months later or a year later, they're like, "Okay, yeah, we want those leads." Because it rings true to your story. Like, "Oh, we're an insurance company. We don't do that Facebook thing. That's stupid." And then 2 years later, "Hey, so how do we reach more people?" It's the same thing. So it's interesting to hear that you also had that experience.
Let's use this as a segue to WAGMI. So if somebody has no idea what WAGMI is, but they're into gaming, what do they do? What do they come to WAGMI for?
Yeah, that's a great segue. So our main goal with WAGMI is to take things back to the roots of gaming. And when I say that, and this isn't all projects, obviously, there's a lot of amazing projects in Web3. Something that I personally noticed, and my team agrees with me, is a lot of people that maybe grew up as gamers and then, had to go into corporate America. You don't get to game as much. You have a family, right? It's very different when you're playing Zelda for 8 hours a day, every day, when you're like 15 versus being an adult, right? I feel like you start to forget.
Slightly different.
Yeah. Like my stepdad was such an asshole. He would say that, you know, the having Nintendo on would boost the electric bill. So he would never let me play video games. I had to like wake up at 6 a.m., you know, even during the summer, and just watch and wait until he left the house and then run downstairs and turn Nintendo on. Anyways, we don't have to get into my personal shit. Clearly it left a scar, you know, clearly. And then sometimes he would like forget something and come home, and I'd be like, oh shit, like turn it all off and run back upstairs. But so
I had a friend of mine who was earlier to the internet than I am. He was doing excellent on the internet, but then when the phone bill came in, that was a long time ago on dial-up. When the phone bill came, his dad freaked out and he cut him off. And then, you know, 6 months in, you know, I caught up and you know, he moved out to something that has nothing to do with the internet. You know, I feel that was a big turning point. If his dad didn't really, you know, switch that off and come down hard on that, he would have done something in tech versus he went to something completely offline. So I get your story.
He's very relatable. I'm sure there's people here listening that are laughing like, yeah, sounds familiar. But the point of that story was I've noticed a lot of people that are gamers, like they are gamers at their core. They're coming into Web3 because the technology is so cool, but I feel like they forgot what made gaming fun. And a lot of these companies focus so much on the tech, so much on the tokens, so much on the NFTs that they're leading with the NFTs and the tech. They're not necessarily leading with the game. And more than that, they're not leading with the story of the game. Think about a lot of the games that have been around forever. We use Halo as an example. Everybody knows who the Master Chief is. Campaign mode in the original Halo was so friggin' cool. Everybody knows the Covenant, Master Chief. Even if you've never played, you know, if you saw a Halo character, whether it was Master Chief or the Warthog that he rides in, or one of the Covenants, you're like, yep, that's Halo. So much so they just had a special, was a Netflix or Paramount, which was amazing, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it was like 7 episodes. It's so cool. Story is what draws people in. And so what we're focusing on with WAGME is all original characters. If you go to our website, you can click on the characters and read their backstories. We launched a comic book in collaboration with GameStop last December. It's on OpenSea right now. It's called Nife Wars, Nife. You can read the origin story of why the aliens are fighting the humans, right? And we're going to be continuing that story. In fact, I met some guys at NFT NYC. They're called Adult Fantasy. But these are guys that worked at like Marvel and Cartoon Network for the past, 20 years. So they're going to help us really dial in and get the origin stories of the characters like laid out, continue the Nife Wars comics. But again, leading with a story, because when you play a game, if the game is fun, that's one thing. But if you're attached to specific characters in that game, those are going to be the ones that you're probably going to grind the most. If you ever are going to spend any money in a game, you're going to spend it on the character that you like the most. Maybe there's different variants. Maybe there's different skins. So when I play Call of Duty, I could really give two shits about buying operator skins. But then they released the Scream mask skin from the movie Scream. And I was like, me and my boys were like, we need to run around all dressed as Scream. Right? And then, we get rolled up on by a team all that looks like Snoop Dogg. And we're like, Jesus Christ, Snoop Dogg's everywhere. I'm like, there's a Snoop Dogg in here. Like, there's one outside too.
Yeah.
They had John McClane from Die Hard was in there. Yeah, Bruce Willis, and much, much more. And then if you really pay attention, in Fortnite as well, a lot of the top creators have their own operator skins that their fans can buy. Why? Because you want to use your favorite creator's operator skin. So we really understand at WAGME Games that not only does you have to lead with story, but you have to make it fun in all those levels, because that's what made it fun for us. Also, WAGME, right now we're in closed beta. If you guys want to try the closed beta, you can go to our website. There's a link at the top where you can just put your email in. Once we soft launch by end of the year, you're going to be able to just go to the App Store, download WAGME Defense, and start playing. You don't need a wallet. You don't have to have Ethereum. You don't even have to know anything about crypto. And the game is free to play. And that's so important when it comes to Web3 gaming. You have got to be a free-to-play game because you will not be able to even break into countries like India, for example, if it costs $5 to play your game. They just won't play because in that country, they don't have a lot of money and they will spend money on games, but they're only going to spend money on games that their friends play, their communities at school play, right? And the only way you'll be able to get them in is by making the game free to play, free to download. So when you play WAGMI Defense, all the characters that you're getting are NFTs, right? And then you can actually get rarer versions of those NFTs. You can level up those NFTs. But if you know nothing about crypto, you can just play it like a normal game on your phone and be none the wiser and just have as much fun as everybody else is having. Again, leading with the story, leading with fun gameplay. And then once they're hooked, we have our ways where we'll be like, hey, did you know that a level 5 General Stamima is worth $10? Here's how you go and sell yours. And then start dripping the Web3 elements in once they're already in. Everybody's trying to shove Web3 down your face, down your throat. You need to drip it in slowly. And, some Bitcoin maxis, that I've spoken to kind of give us crap. They're like, oh, it looks like you're trying to take NFTs and crypto and tuck it in the corner. We're like, yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Like, you guys have been trying to shove Bitcoin down people's throats since 2009 and nobody wants it. Do you understand what you're doing wrong yet? So it's like my car, okay? I have a 2010 Camaro. She's my baby. Her name is Jane. It's the first car that I ever bought. So this is 2010, right? So this is when my YouTube channel was finally starting to pay the bills. I live in New Hampshire, okay? This is like, you guys know, New Hampshire, Mass. We get crazy snowstorms. It gets really hot in the summer. This was the first car I ever owned that had working AC and heat at the same time, okay? Let that sink in. So this is my baby. I still have her to this day. She has like 50,000 miles. Really nice. And I just rebuilt her engine last year. I just put a 1,200 horsepower. She's a monster, but she looks like what's called a sleeper. And the point of that story is she is fast as fuck, boy. But the technology is under the hood. Until I pop that hood, you just think it's a 2010 Camaro that can't beat a Ferrari when in fact it can. In fact, it can smoke most.
I love that analogy, man. I'm looking on YouTube. I'm seeing the demos of WAGMI games. Bro, the graphics are insane. The characters look awesome, man. And one thing that caught my attention is you chose Immutable X. And then I was about to ask you, how do you expect users to understand how to shift from Ethereum layer 2 to Immutable X? But then you went on to say that you drip it step by step. So is it something that you have prepared for if a lot of users are still not aware of that transition, of the technicality of some of the wallets, how you go through different demos? Is it something that you've prepared for going into WAGMI?
Yeah, so as of right now, as soon as you join the game, a custodial wallet's created for you. So you might notice on the gameplay, and that's another thing too. Like I'm going to be hosting another battle royale tomorrow. Like we're hosting battle royales. I have a list of 52 creators in Web3 that just want to play fun games. Some of them stream, some of them are just posting on Twitter. And I'm like, hey, join me for this battle royale. And that's why you'll see like there's 6 to 8 people always with me. Yeah. Because they just want to play a fun game and have fun and talk smack, right? So when you start playing WAGMI Defense, a custodial wallet's generated for you. And if you look at the gameplay on the top right-hand corner of the main screen, it's like a little wallet. Yeah. So you click on that and there's your wallet. Now, when you decide that you want to start trading your in-game characters, we actually have a document on our Discord that shows you how to claim that wallet. It's very easy. It takes like 5 minutes. And some of our beta players have already made like $500 to $600 trading their assets. And a lot of them are talking to each other in our Telegram, and they're trading and selling to each other like, hey, I need a level 4 this character, or hey, I need 2 more copies of the Alien Emperor to turn my common into a rare. Does anybody have any copies for sale? And it's not like they're spending, hundreds of dollars. I'm talking like $2 to $5 to pick up, some characters they might need to create rarer versions of that character. So the transition is quite easy, but eventually we're going to have all of that in game. We're going to have the marketplace in game. Everything is going to be in game. But I will tell you, as of right now, and that's one of the things we're testing in this beta, is we're testing the characters. We're consistently balancing the characters week to week. That's why the battle royales are so important. Like, for example, right now, this one character on the human side, his name is Leviathan. And he basically, you put him on the board. If you don't have a Leviathan, he might just, start wrecking all your units. So he had to get nerfed. But that's a part of the fun of the game. So, yeah, moving forward, we are making it as easy as possible for people to not only play the game and download, but also trade assets with each other. So I also have a YouTube channel that I did for fun on the side that was for gaming. And I would stream like Call of Duty, and then one of my favorite mobile games, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. And something that I always talked about, and I've been streaming that game for like 7 years, I spend a lot of money on these games. And our game, you can buy everything with a credit card. So like if you want a different character, some new characters you don't have, you can just buy them from our store in game with a credit card.
Okay.
Which is revolutionary.
So am I on the right page? Is it Oh the Humanity? Is that page?
Yeah.
Okay, I found it.
That's actually my name in WAGME Defense. I changed my name to Oh the Humanity.
Okay.
So I'll be streaming Dokkan Battle, and the videos that get the most views are the ones where you're summoning for new characters on banners that just come out. And we have packs of cards in our game too, where you open a pack and then you get like 10 random cards, right? So a lot of times I'll be doing Dokkan Battle, and I'll be like, I'll get a legendary card that I probably already have 3 copies of because I play so much. And I tell my community, if I could give this to one of you right now, I would. Because getting those cards is super rare. You got to spend a lot of money. Sometimes you get lucky, get it right away. Sometimes you never get any of them. And then when I stream Dokkan like for the last year, and I'm like, hey, if this was an NFT, I could have given this to one of you right now on stream. That's when the light bulbs start going off for Web2 gamers. Because you're showing them, you're giving them a reason to want to like NFTs, because you're helping them understand what it means to get a digital asset. It's like one guy was like, I've been playing this game for 5 years and I still don't have this one character. And then I literally got that character on stream and I said, I have 6 copies of this character. I would give it to you if it was my game and it was an NFT. And he's just like, that's what an NFT is. I get it now.
Yeah. It's a tradable asset. And I mean, all those skins, like I'm taking, for example, Fortnite, for example, all those skins remain in the game, remain under the account of the player. But if it were NFTs, users would send those to each other. One thing I want to ask you, Scott, is it on a purpose? And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it on purpose that you do not market WAGME games as a play-to-earn game?
Yeah, because we don't want to be known as a play-to-earn game.
Do you have? Yeah. Is there a reason you don't like to be branded by that?
Well, because most play-to-earn games were scams, and most of them failed.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be honest. So in our game, I mean, the gameplay works just like any other mobile game. Well, let's take Clash Royale, for example, because we're very similar in that we're both tower defense. Like when you play Clash Royale, as you start to level up and you start to open chests and you start to win matches and you start to go down the king's journey, like you're getting more characters that you can put on your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our game works the same exact way, except that those characters you're getting are assets that you own. So yes, you can sell them, right? Or you can trade them, but it's not necessarily that play to earn mechanic where, for example, you're grinding to get the in-game token and then you're selling that token and the chart's done. Like, that doesn't exist here. Granted, we do have a token and it's a 100% utility token in our game, but it's not used in a way to where you're opening chests and you're getting like $100 worth of WAGMI token and then you're going to the chart and dumping it. That doesn't make any sense. If you're going to introduce a token in a game, it has to be like your V-Bucks or your COD points. And then again, right, like you're dripping little bits of those Web3 elements to get people excited about it. So for example, we're going to have tournaments. And the only way you can enter the tournaments is to hold a certain amount of WAGMI token. And that's not uncommon because when I play Call of Duty, I'll buy COD points and then always have some in my wallet in case I want to buy operator skins or guns or things like that. So holding onto a token is not something that's unfamiliar to Web 2. Buying our battle pass will be done with WAGMI Games token. And then they'll be able to still use their credit card. All of the transacting of it converting to WAGMI Games token and then buying the battle pass, we'll handle that in the back end. Make it as easy as possible. And then what we're also introducing to Web 2 is governance. And I think these are cool ways to help Web 2 people become more familiar with Web 3 elements. If they realize, oh, if I hold the WAGMI Games token, I can vote on, maybe we have 3 new characters we're going to introduce. Which one do you guys want first? You have to hold X amount of WAGMI token to vote on that. Or, hey, we haven't done this live op event in a while. Do you guys want it to come back? Here's where you vote. So there's ways to introduce these elements in a way that's not scary.
Scott, I want to ask you a little bit about the token. So you mentioned introducing this token. You mentioned some governance features. Would users have the ability at the end of the day to exchange this token for actual money? So is it like a crypto coin or is it like a just?
We're on the Ethereum network. Where WAGMI Games is our token ticker.
So here's my question, because we also at NFT PowerUp we've been researching tokens a bit, and we see other projects also dabbling with tokens. But there's always this concern of being labeled as a security when you launch your own token and users could use that to exchange it for fiat. So is that something you're concerned about, especially that the SEC recently also targeted one NFT project?
Yeah. So it's not something that we're concerned about. To give you an exact answer, I would probably have to have our CTO Khaled come on here because he's the blockchain specialist. And I'm just the pretty face on YouTube.
That's fair. That's fair.
But,
okay.
So everything that we're doing at WAGMI Games, we are very aware of, trying to be as SEC compliant as possible, because if we want to really break out and be the game that bridges the gap from Web 2 to Web 3, obviously if that does happen, or say when that does happen, I'm sure all eyes will be on us. Yep. So everything that we're doing to be SEC compliant, but that's something for Khaled to dive in deep. Maybe we can have another space to talk more about tokenomics and how all that works and have him on.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome, man.
Yeah. He's our blockchain genius. We just say, Khaled, figure it out. And he's like, okay.
And he cooks, and Khaled cooks.
Yeah, he does. Well, it's just like, hey, Scott, we need videos, we need influencers, we need all. Okay, great, I do it. And then when it comes to blockchain and, the NFTs and SEC stuff, he's got that.
That is awesome.
One thing in particular that I like is everything that you're doing and what you're discussing. It's core gaming, and in the background, it has to do with Web3 and NFTs and crypto and whatnot, right? So the skins, holding on to units, whatever the units would be, whether they're tokens or not for me to buy internally in the game. When you join, you said that when somebody joins, they get a wallet in the background. All of that is familiar. All of that is where eventually things will head. You and your team are smart. You're doing this early on, but eventually people are going to figure out that saying no. People are coming to us not because we have a token or not because we have a skin called an NFT or whatever. They're coming to play. They're coming to interact with others. And yes, we have those elements. And the skin part, plays a very big role. You reminded me of when, pre-network games, when we used to play network games at home, right? When, my friends used to come over, we'd have a network party at home, everybody with their own computers, we'd play Doom. And we would look for. I used to spend so much time online to find skins and throw them in the right folder so that we can choose the right skins and so on. And they were popular then; they're still popular now. And I get it's easier now with an NFT that transfer to you. And then, as you said, there are skilled game. There are skills that you earn, and you can share those. So all of that, yeah.
Did you know Doom actually invented the term deathmatch?
I didn't know that came from them. I thought it was came from something.
They were one of the first games where you could actually battle online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Told you, I got a wealth of information up here that is now relevant. Wasn't joking.
I'm sure growing up, they told you sitting this close to the screen will rot your brain. Playing video games so much will rot your brain. So
rotted it in a good way.
I get this discussion now with parents. Sometimes tell me, "Oh, my kid's playing on this iPad on his or her iPad all day," and they don't say, "Look, things are very different now, and you have enough businesses and personal brands and so on to say that cut them some slack. Worst case, they have a wealth of information that they could use with their kids eventually. That's worst case scenario, right? But people like you who are turning this into a business and a personal brand, and I'm sure you're giving feedback on the format of the game, and based on feedback you're seeing in Discord or so on. All of that comes in handy.
Oh, 100%. And I'll tell you what, even with kids. So my nephew, he's gonna be 6 this year. My older brother and I, right? Like we had the same upbringing, obviously. And my nephew, he's so smart. He can't even read, but he can go turn on the TV and find Beastie Boys on YouTube. Because that's one of Uncle's favorite bands, and he's like putting on Intergalactic, and my brother's like, "How did you even know where to go? Like, how did you even do this?" But what my brother does is just like, "Okay, we're gonna play outside for X amount of time, and then if you want to play on your Fire tablet, or he has a little gaming arcade downstairs that he built where you can play like Turtles in Time and all those different games that we had fun in the arcade with." And honestly, like he plays those things and he's really smart and he loves his tablet, but because he has the option of both, he likes to play outside when it's nice out, and then he'll come in and play video games later when it starts to get dark or after dinner. And it's just creating a balance. And then like a lot of kids don't have that balance, and then that goes into their adult life. And then you're just like my brother Patrick was just in his room all day playing video games, never really had a balance of like socializing with humans. Granted, he was a top 100 COD player, right? He was very good, but you have to have balance with anything. And I think that with Web3, you have to have balance with the emerging technology, but also what traditionally made games fun. Balance. I'm a Libra. Balance is life. You have to have balance.
I want to be conscious of your time with us. This discussion is very engaging. I still have a couple more questions as we wrap.
Yeah, the reason is about again, though.
I happened again. You're on mute.
Yeah, he has to disconnect his mic and reconnect it. That's how I would fix it.
That's better.
Right.
It worked.
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
It worked.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, in order to, I want to be mindful of your time, Scott, and the discussion has been very, very good. I still have a couple more questions before we start to wrap up. I'd like to hear the story about how you were brought in as a co-founder. You mentioned that early on in the discussion, and you're energetic about it. And I'd like to hear more details about that, please.
Yeah. So, like I said, I started a YouTube channel, Scott Herman Crypto, and then I was working with projects and just really trying to go head first into crypto. And one of my community members, and this is something I talk about a lot, even with 3 million subscribers on YouTube, my DMs are always open. If people try to reach out to me, obviously I can't answer every comment or question, but I do my best to try to be around as much as I can. I'm very interactive with my community. And so someone from my community was like, "Hey, you should check out WagMe. They have this amazing platform they're building. The game looks cool. They have a story. It's very different than anything else I've ever seen. You should check it out. That's how I found out about WAGMI. And so I reached out to the team and we had a meeting. And so my business partner is one of my best friends. His name is Costas. Him and I actually ran Scott Herman Fitness for like the last 13 years together. So we've been together for a long time. And we had a meeting with the WAGMI team and heard these guys speak. The original core four, they called themselves Ian, Lewis, Khaled, who's the blockchain guy we'll have later, and Chris. And after the meeting with them, me and Costas were chatting, and I was like, this is probably the only team we've ever spoken to in the last year that actually had their shit together. And what I meant by that is these guys come from traditional backgrounds in business. They not only know how to build a solid foundation, but they also know how to plan for the future. They also know how to scale. They have backgrounds in marketing, affiliate management. They had all of the pieces to the puzzle. And it just seemed like to me, the only piece they were missing was my piece, which was social media, content creation, and all the things that I do, all the network that I have. And so we joined with them in February, but we came on not as a co-founder, came on as like an influencer role, because we were minting our Genesis NFT collection. It was a collection of 3,022 NFTs, which right now has a floor price of almost 2 ETH. Like it's a very good collection with a lot of utility. And we minted that collection out in about a week. And at the time, they were about $390 a piece. So it was like a $1.2 million raise. It was really good. By the way, WAGMI is completely bootstrapped. We have no VC funding, aside from maybe some angels that came in. So we raised the money, and then me and Costas came back after that initial month was over and said, listen, we want to join here as co-founders and just basically, work our balls off and get this thing to be, the game that bridges the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. And so that's how we joined as co-founders. We literally came on as influencers, blew up the Genesis NFTs, and then really just recognized the opportunity to do something great in Web 3 and said, we want to be a part of this. And so since last March, Costas and myself joined the Core 4, which became the Core 6, and here we are today.
Okay, all right. We'll connect with you after you mentioned one
Your
of your
mic's
co-founders.
bad again. I love the face Ivan makes when we tell him his mic is bad. You guys can't see it on Twitter. You can tell he wants to just destroy the world right now.
Because the thing is, the setup I'm working on.
Your mic's still bad. We can't hear you.
MG?
Yeah.
Take over.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, awesome. I don't know. Ayman had a few questions to ask, but he was about to wrap up. It's funny. We planned it for a couple of days, but always on the spot, something has to go wrong. Hopefully,
if I try again now.
There you go. You're good.
Okay, I'm going to ask you my last two questions now. In case I rug, you can continue, right? One of them is about the ring you have. Which one is it? Because I tried one recently and it wasn't comfortable. So I just wanted to talk more about what you recommend for that.
Oh,
and the last question. Let me ask my questions before I disconnect, right? And the last question I had before you wrap up is, you're speaking highly of your mentors. You've mentioned one or two during especially in the initial part of our discussion together, and that shows character, Scott. Right, where you speak highly of people that you worked with before, especially if they came hard on you or they gave you your initial opportunities and so on. So I'd like to hear more about you and them and so on, and your recommendations for others for finding those mentors, because they play a big role in us. I'm talking to you now about them, and I'm thinking about those who helped me out early on and. Either came down hard on me or gave me the opportunities to learn for me to pick up a few things that I'm using today. So that would be my wrapping question. Let's start with the easy one, which was the ring, and then the mentorship.
So I posted a link to it. I actually just bought this one because because I have a ring just for the gym. So it's a rubber silicone ring. This is by Pop Chose Men's Silicone Wedding Rings. I posted the link to Amazon in the chat for you. It's actually very comfortable. My other one lasted like Well, how long have I been married? I don't know, 7 or 8 years, something like that. Seems like 80 years. Lasted a long time. I assume it only broke because, taking it to the gym and using it on barbells and stuff. But yeah, this one's really comfortable.
You were rugging. What I heard was you've been happily married for 8 years, but it feels like you just got married this year and things are great. That's what I heard, right?
yeah. That's exactly what I said. So that question that you just brought up is interesting about mentors, because this is something I haven't really explained to people in a long time, and you kind of just refreshed it in my mind. I used to tell people, because when you tell people like, oh, I work in a gym, they have a thought in their head of what that is, right, or what that means. Like, oh, you just work in a gym and people work out in a gym. Like, good for you. Go, shut the hell up. Working at a gym at a very young age, especially, during the week, when I was working during the week in the summertime, think about what kind of people are going to the gym and exercising throughout the day at a gym. Grant, it's usually people who maybe own their own business or are very successful, because most people have to work 9 to 5, right?
Yep.
So who's going to the gym 9 to 5? Well, maybe it's some people that work, night shift, right? But there's also a lot of people that just are business owners and kind of run their own schedule. And so at my club, the owner, Dave, like, he knew everyone, right? So I got to know everyone too. And people, like older people, and I know this because now that I'm older, I do the same thing. When you see a young guy working really hard, you tend to want to help them and help them along and give them advice and teach them things that you've learned on your own journey. In fact, my workout partner, I took him under my wing when he was, 17. And now, like, he's 23 and he has his own business in 40 schools where he does after school sports programs for kids.
Wow.
And I'm so proud of him. And I know I had a heavy hand in, pushing him to do this, because even if I wasn't telling him what to do or what he should do, he just consistently sees how hard I work, and that rubbed off on him. And so for me as a kid, I literally had all these people in the gym that were like mentors to me, that were, even if they weren't giving me valuable advice, they were always pushing me and telling me how good of a job I was doing and telling me to go for my goals and reach out. And so I guess the best thing I can say is you need to immerse yourself in an environment that you want to be in, and you have to open yourself up. So many people nowadays, they're so active on social media, they're so active on, making content, and then they go out in real life and they're just so closed off. They don't know how to interact with other people, or they're just straight up assholes and they just think that the world should revolve around them. You have to break down those barriers, because there are, like, I meet so many people in the Web3 space just because I say hello, and I'm not looking for a handout or just trying to, see what they can do for me. Like, I used to go to LA a lot when I got off of the real world, because I was I quote unquote celebrity, right? And I would notice that people would just talk to me to see what I could do for them. And I didn't like that. It's like, can't we just be friends? And then maybe if it works out in the future, we can help each other. Great. It's like a lot of people are just looking for the next opportunity, and they see you as a stepping stone versus someone who can just, have a friendship with you. If you're giving off that energy, people pick up on it, and people are not going to want to help you. Like, you just need to understand that it takes time to build a business. It takes time to be successful. And if you work hard enough, eventually all the stars do align. I was actually in a Twitter space the other day. I can't remember which one it was, but they were asking me for advice on how to do well on social media, because the WAGME Games Twitter page does so well. And they're like, wow, you guys have all these amazing announcements. You're doing Twitter spaces every week. Your community is so interactive. How do we do that? And I said, well, you're not going to like the answer. I said, for the first year of building at WAGME, we didn't have a lot of traction on social media because we were building the infrastructure of the business.
Yeah.
And in Web3, you see, like, it's always a race to get as much hype as you can. It's because you want people to buy your token. You want people to buy your NFTs.
Yep.
And that's the completely opposite way of how businesses have grown traditionally. Like, you need to do the work first and create the content, create the business, create the game. And then once you have all those things, then you start trying to blow up the socials, because you actually have things, tangible things that you can deliver that people can latch onto. You have to give people something to brag about. They can't just brag about like, hey, we might get this listing, or hey, we might get this partnership. So we just announced on Wednesday that we partnered with OpenSea, right? And it's not just a front page, here's our upcoming Founders Pack Mint. We're doing a Founders Pack Mint in sometime this month. It's going to be like a full-blown, they're going to do co-marketing with us, Twitter Spaces, email blasts, and a bunch of other stuff. That's a deal that I had been working on for 2 months, but we weren't posting on Twitter, hey, something big is coming soon. It's like,
and that doesn't work.
Yeah, like the week before, once all the documents were signed and it was legit, hey guys, next week we're going to drop a huge announcement. Mm-hmm. And our community has gotten so used to the fact now that if we say, hey guys, we're dropping a big announcement, they believe it. Yeah. And to get that trust and to get that belief, it takes time to get that. So going back to your original question, Ayman, if you're looking for people for, support or to kind of take you under their wing, you just really have to immerse yourself in the environment that you want to be in, whether it's socially, whether it's for business, whatever it might be. You have to open yourself up. Keep those DMs open. Respond to people. Be a friggin' human being. Like, if you post on Twitter, if you're the kind of person that posts on Twitter and you get 10 replies and you don't reply to one, you're an asshole. Like, go fuck yourself. Seriously. It's like, you can't reply to one person while you're taking a shit. Are you serious? Like, what else are you doing on your phone? Hopefully playing Wag Me Defense. But you should also respond to some people's comments.
Scott, this has been an excellent way to wrap up the segment. Where do people go to get in touch with for Wag Me Games?
So there's a lot of places you can find Wag Me. Of course, you can go to our website, wagmegame.io. Yep, thank you for pulling that up. I would say the best thing to do is to go to our Twitter page, Wag Me Game Co., because we have a link tree there that will link you to our token, our Discord, our Telegram, our website, and all of our NFT collections, just to make sure that you're always going to the right place. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can DM us directly on the Wag Me Twitter, or you can DM me, Scott_Herman on Twitter or X. I mean, I'm running the messages for both, so you're getting me no matter which one you DM.
That's awesome.
I prefer if you DM me, because I'm mostly on mine, because I chat with a lot of people. So DM me personally, or you can reach out to us. Once you join our Telegram or once you join our Discord, like we try to be as interactive as we can with our community.
Thank you, Scott, for being with us today and for being open and comfortable with your discussions. Thank you, listeners, for being with us here today. Just as a reminder, we're opening up this week's trivia game. It's based on riddles, where you can win cash prizes and whitelists as well. And I want to thank you for coming here with us. And we do have some great clips from Scott that we're going to chop up and share with you later on our other socials. And we would love to see you all with us next week. Signing off for today. Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you.